Many people want to be financially stable and free, but it is hard for them to get there. People who live from paycheck to paycheck, struggle with debt, and can't save for the future are not rare. Some people may blame their situation, but it is important to realize that many of the habits we form keep us poor. In this video, first I'll talk about three of the most common habits that keep people poor, and then I'll share some solutions to the problem. Living beyond our means is one of the most common habits we have that keeps us poor. People often spend money they don't have, rack up credit card debt, and are always worried about money. It is easy to get caught up in the desire for material things, but it is important to remember that these purchases often come with a price. When we spend more than we earn, we get stuck in a circle of debt and worry about money. We should always try to spend less than we make each month, and 20% of our monthly income should be saved. If we keep a close eye on how much we spend and how much we earn, we can make a big difference in our financial health. This is what we call budgeting. Another habit that keeps us poor is not making a budget. Many people don't know what happens to their money each month, and they spend it without any real plan or goal. This is one of the most common things people do wrong with their money. They don't pay attention to how much money they have. If you don't know what is going on in your bank account, like how much you make and how much you spend, you won't be able to save and grow. Without a good budget, it is easy to spend too much money and lose track of where it is going. Making a budget helps us understand our financial position, decide how to spend our money, and make sure we aren't spending more than we can afford. Putting together a budget also helps us figure out where we can cut back on spending that isn't necessary and put that money towards our financial goals. We can make a big difference in our earnings by making small changes to how we spend. For example, instead of always going out for a cup of coffee or a meal, we can make them at home for much less money. This doesn't mean we can't treat ourselves once in a while, but it does mean we should stay within our limits. Even if we already have a few pairs of sneakers at home, ads for sneakers on our social media feeds make us want to buy more. Even if we already have a good phone, the release of a new model may make us want to switch to the latest one. We may already have enough cookies for a month at home, but the next time we go grocery shopping, we buy 2 or 3 more packs without thinking. All of this might not seem like a big deal now, but in the long run, it could mess up our budget and keep us from meeting our financial goals. Instant gratification is another word for our tendency to buy things we don't need just to feel good about ourselves. Companies, especially online sellers, come up with new ways to get us to spend more every day. For example, they send us reminder emails, offer us discounts, and make it easier than ever to make a purchase. If we don't stop ourselves from falling for their tricks, it could easily ruin our budget and make it hard for us to reach our financial goals, which are more crucial for us in the long run. We stay poor because we don't plan our money well and buy things on the spur of the moment. It is easy to forget about the future and focus on the present. But if we don't plan for our finances, we might have to deal with unexpected costs we didn't expect and other financial problems. Without savings, investments, and a plan for retiring, it will be hard for us to get ahead financially and become financially independent. To save money and build wealth, we need to be very clear on our goals and keep looking at them to make sure we are on the right track. It is also very important to know the difference between must-haves, nice-to-haves, and not-to-haves. We need to set our financial goals in order of importance and give up some of our current pleasures to make future gains. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. FOMO can make us spend money when we don't need to. We all know how it works. When we have expensive tasting friends or family. We follow social media stars who jet around the world, wear trendy clothes, eat at fancy places, and always make it look like they live a very luxurious and exciting life. It is hard to say no to the urge to keep up with them. This bad habit makes us feel like we are always missing out and like we need to be a part of everything. But this bad money habit is what keeps us from saving money, keeps us in debt, and keeps us poor. You don't always know what your friends, neighbors, or influential people are doing behind the scenes. Many of the things you see might not be real. When you see a friend having dinner at a fancy restaurant or a celebrity traveling to a faraway country, you are immediately impressed by how well off they seem. But you never know what is going on behind the scenes. What if they used a credit card for the trip and can't pay it off right away? What if their parents or maybe some sponsors are paying for all of the expensive trips and dinners? You should sometimes turn off social media so you don't always give in to FOMO. If you have friends or family who always want to go to fancy parties or on trips that you can't afford, it is okay to tell them no. You have no reason to feel bad about it. Also, stop making it easy for people on social media to influence you. Many of us are susceptible to peer pressure and let our emotions guide our financial decisions. But it is crucial to adopt a logical mindset when dealing with money because thorough analysis is necessary before making any decisions. It is important to understand the risk associated with any expenditure we make. We need to be sure that the gain from the purchase we are making will last for a long time and that it is going to help us meet our long term financial goals. We don't spend our money just to show off and please others. The best way to keep from being poor is to learn about money. Education can solve a lot of problems. Unfortunately, many of us don't put enough value on learning about important parts of life and keep living very mindlessly, not realizing all the mistakes we are making. Education is what opens our eyes and shows us where we are going wrong. Even when it comes to money, we need to learn as much as we can. Financial literacy helps us see the mistakes we are making with our money and gives us the tools we need to fix those mistakes. Fortunately, in this age of the internet, there is a lot of information and knowledge accessible for free. Also, if you want, you can hire an expert to help you with your finances. Setting a budget and financial goals and making it a habit to write them down in a diary or a notebook is another way to get our expenses under control. We can start keeping track of how much money comes in, how much goes out, and where it goes in a journal. By making a budget and writing down everything we earn and spend, we can see where we are spending too much and make changes to make sure we are living within our means. Writing down our financial goals helps us stay on track and keep going. We need to know exactly what we want to accomplish and why we want to do it. Setting financial goals and writing them down helps us stay on track and make progress towards our goals, whether they are to pay off debt, save for our down payment on a house, or build a retirement fund. Another important thing you need to do to keep from going broke is to stop using your credit card too much. One of the most expensive bad money habits is using your credit card to buy things. Big interest rates make it nearly impossible to pay off debt, and big credit card balances hurt our credit score. So, either don't use your credit card or make it a habit to pay off the whole amount every month to avoid fines and bad credit scores. Always keep in mind that the money in your bank account is the money you own. If you spend more than that, you'll be in debt and have to pay it back with interest. So, the best thing to do is either not use your credit card at all or only use it to buy things that you could buy with the money you already have in your bank account. Having a career plan is another way to keep from going broke. If you really want to pull yourself out of being poor, saving and spending alone won't be enough. You need to come up with new ways to make more money. You cannot just sit complacently and do one job. Use your network to find better paying jobs, learn new skills to excel in your position, explore side projects, freelance, use your free time, evenings, and weekends to build a passive source of income. Do everything within your capacity to make the best use of your time and multiply your income. Unfortunately, many of us have bad money habits that keep us living in poverty because we don't educate ourselves on how finances work and because we act on impulse. We don't realize that the decisions we make today without thinking about them will have long term effects on our lives. Most people stay poor because they buy things on impulse, don't make a budget, and don't know much about money. By learning about money and building good money habits, we can break out of these bad habits and become financially stable and independent. Learning about money and controlling our emotions well will help us handle our money well, plan for the future, and avoid the common mistakes that keep us poor.